Yanis Varoufakis is 2 years older than me. He graduated in the same subject that I studied, but not from the LSE. He went to an inferior college, and I think he graduated after me because he was stupid and he was a stupid chap, but he belongs to a great people, the Greek people, and there are a lot of Indians, plenty of especially Brahmins, and we've never had any money. We never were engaged in mercantile commerce. In fact, we would lose caste if we crossed the Black Sea, the Black Water, Kala Pani. Oh my God! So we're useless people, and we didn't help India. And I think we're very scrupulous in conducting religious rituals, and we're very, very happy to get a bit of rice and some vegetables, and then we're very happy. Spiritual people, and perhaps I am a spiritual person as well. Sadly, I was not born in India. I'm Malech. I'm Javan. I'm Javan. Javan Indian. I'm pretty horrible. Yeah, I really I despise myself. I didn't have any good qualities at all. But I did, very briefly, have a very beautiful Greek girlfriend, and she belonged to the same class as Yanis Varoufakis. In fact, she was better looking than his wife, and more accomplished, and very, very smart. Why? Why? Nobody else in the entire world would look at me. Why would a Greek girl look at me? I think the answer is that they don't have a lot of black people in Greece. They didn't at the time. Now they do. Now they have handsome, good-looking people from Senegal and from. But yeah, I think I'd like to think it's the old Indo-Greek connection. No, I'm joking. I'm tall. I'm tall. And potentially very well built. It's easy for me to put on muscle and so on, but I don't do it. Yeah, I suppose it was the potentiality. I was a couple of years younger than the Greek girl, and she saw potential in me. But it was a potential which never turned into actuality, unless, of course, you think that my books and my poetry and my unique, it is quite unique. I have my own theory of soteriological soteriology and of karma, and a game theoretic conception of the Bhagavad Gita, and that might be interesting. But it might not, and it isn't. It's boring. But, I'm a happy camper. And what is it about Varoufakis which chops my onions and pours mustard on top? I suppose the answer is that he's a game theorist. He's somebody like me. He's good looking. He's a rock star. He's slim. He's what I want to be. I want to be slim. I want to be, I want to be able to sort of shave my head so as not to have these, this sort of shit. I want to do that, and I do that from time to time. But then I can't be bothered because what the fuck. Nobody cares. Nobody's looking. That isn't it. What it is that Greece is so important. You see, it's a country where, when Varoufakis and Syriza, when they came to power, there was, a lot of us hoped that Greece would do mechanism design, game theory. The reverse of game theory is mechanism design. So they do the mechanism design, and Greece becomes Athens becomes what it was. For a century, 2,200 years ago, it becomes a hub. It becomes a place where you do your deals through Athens, because the mechanism design is better. And, especially English-speaking Greeks, you had Cyprus, but, Cyprus is terribly corrupt, and they've got the Turks over there. It is an English, it is an Anglo-Saxon jurisprudence type locale, but he is too corrupt. And, Cypriot say that to you. They go, no, don't do business in Cyprus. But, we thought that the American and these very well-educated chaps, B2 Eaton and Salat Tokas or something, not Varoufakis, but, this bunch of guys, St. Paul's or Eton or whatever it might be, these bunch of guys would turn Athens into a financial hub, because, they need money. And there's a way to get that money without breaking any rules. Because the whole point about the EU was that the rules are a joke. You can, you just need a bit of imagination, and if you are on the periphery, you can screw the rules. And that's what we thought that, Ireland and Greece, basically Greece would be Ireland with a sunny climate. And Athens, we thought, was the place that we could invest and that we could live. And I'd meet up with my girlfriend again, and something would happen. These are dreams. And they've done fantastically well. The Athens Olympic Games, in which my ex-girlfriend had played a role, had been marvellous, And I know that wasted a lot of the money, but everybody wastes money. That's not the point. The thing is that you have Athens as a brand for global finance, for really, fintech, and for, you've got the shipping industry, and you've got so many other things that you can get into, and you've got the Russians, and it wouldn't necessarily mean corrupting that country. And the other thing is that my belief was that, and it's a belief which is vindicated, that Greece is incorruptible. You can't have a fucking golden dawn in Greece, and this is true. They actually put those guys in jail. And this is, it really is the best country in the world, as far as I can see, and that's been borne out. But it had the worst finance minister ever. And it's so bad for people like me, because, I have his sort of qualifications, except that I'm a lot brighter than him. And now I'm going to refer to a YouTube video that he has produced, which is called Yanis Varoufakis, From an Economics Without Capitalism to Markets Without to markets without capitalism, from an economics without capitalism to markets without capitalism. And this came out a week ago, and apparently, this is the rock star Varoufakis, who looks amazing. He really is slim. The guy's 2 years older than me, and he's married to Greek type person, and he must have Greek mummy and aunties who are feeding him dolma and still he's very thin. I'm whimpering. That's what I wanted for myself. I wanted to be fed and petted. And I'm sure he's fed and petted. And but he's also fated. He's fated by some horrible shaven-headed German lady and student. And this is some disgusting. It is the University of Tübingen. Do they need a University of Tübingen? Well, I suppose they do, because how else will Nazism resonate itself in a country which has been so punished? And but what is Varoufakis saying in this video? Well, he's saying that, economics needs pluralism, and he thinks that physics doesn't have pluralism, whereas, of course, physics has pluralism in plenty. And economics is basically just a service industry. It's there is a demand of a variegated sort, and there's a repugnancy markets within economics, where in Varoufakis himself and James Galbraith and Stiglitz and so on, they now cluster in a repugnancy market within economics. But there's a demand for that, and they get paid, and they supply, and they get paid, and good luck to them. And there's no dialogue at all between the various different schools of economics. There never has been. It wasn't the case. Even with the mathematical, Kantorovich was a good mathematician. But there's really no point engaging with Kantorovich. He won the Nobel Prize, and you could say, well, there's similarities between Samuelson and Kantorovich, but we all knew that Samuelson was wrong. By then we knew Samuelson just was simply wrong. We knew Ken Arrow was wrong, because, nitrogen uncertainty exists. We knew that any externalist theory of value, in the short run, of course, we all have an externalist theory of value, but in the medium to long term, we don't. It's a type of cognitive bias that we have. These things don't persist. And the other thing that we knew about economics was that there is, from the work of Tarski, we knew that the primitives, the logical primitives of economics, unlike the primitives of physics, we knew that those primitives would always be better known and better understood by non-academics, by non-economists. Whereas in the case of physics, if you say this is a quark, well, you have to be a fucking physicist, and you have to be a very smart physicist to know what the fuck a quark might be. And nobody knew what a quark was exactly, but then you have experiments and the things refined, and you've got a theory of anions in two dimensions, and that's interesting. But physics is interesting because it's outside our empirical experience. This is what Kant spoke of as hypophysics, as the hypokaimenon, the undergirding of reality, which is not available to empirical knowledge, and where your intuitions mislead you because the thing is outside experience. Now, nevertheless, there is enormous pluralism in physics. That is why you have competing research programs. That's why some people say, "Oh, superstring theory is worthless." You know, it's nice mathematically, but that's all we can say about it. So you've got the quantum gravity guys over here, you've got other guys over there, and you've got, there's plenty of pluralism in physics, and you have an observation at the CERN laboratory, and immediately this actually splits a school which already exists, because there are going to be different interpretations of what that result means. The other point is that, of course, in anything in physics, you've got people who are going to attend to it, who are engineers or the entrepreneurs, or and there's money coming in, and some of that money will go in a bad direction, and some will go in a good direction, but most will go in a bad direction, and we know that. That's something which Varoufakis doesn't understand, because he keeps banging on about the expected utility school of economics. But by the late 60s, you had the notion of hidden consistency, you had the notion of regret minimization, you had a critique of 19 uncertainty, and then you have, within game theory, you have Robert Oman, Oman agreement, and by basically, then Oman sort of kind of goes, well, actually, Oman agreement isn't a good thing. He found in the ancient texts of the Hebrew people, of the Jewish people, of the Talmud, he found in the deliberations of the Sanhedrin, he found a rule against unanimity. So, in other words, for regret minimizing reasons, because uncertainty exists, so you minimize regret, you don't maximize utility. Well, if there was no uncertainty, there'd be no language. We live in, there'd be no need to talk to each other, because everything would be predictable. There'd be no Arrow de Brue securities. Arrow de Brue securities, incidentally, are the weapons of mass destruction. And this is a quote often credited to Warren Buffett, that Arrow de Brue securities blow things up. But they didn't really, because, 2008 happened, so what? Or 2007, 2008, yes, there was a correction. So what? What the fuck? Why worry about it? I lost money, you lost money, yes, but we're middle class. And, we shouldn't have been thinking about being able to retire and, fund a school back in our home village or whatever it might be, or go yachting or whatever, because we really hadn't been that productive. And the other thing is that our kids didn't get the jobs that they were supposed to. But we now realize that those jobs weren't really productive at all. They'd have been shakeouts sooner or later. Productivity simply wasn't there. And we've seen there were other fields where productivity did exist. This is why I personally have, I'm making these YouTube videos, because at my age, I've got to do something to secure my pension, to have some money to fall back on. And now that Mia Khalifa has given up porn, it's me. I am the next Mia fucking Khalifa. Fuck is wrong with you? Was that not fucking obvious? Mummy, I've told you, don't bloody watching my YouTube videos. You're spoiling it all. I'm trying to attract a sophisticated Mia Khalifa. Because, now Mia Khalifa is out of porn business. And I checked, I researched this. Her big thing was that she had big glasses, exactly like my glasses. And oh my God. I mean, seriously, you bloody Indian peoples, you're dragging me down. Anyway, let's hear a little bit from Varoufakis.
For somebody who spent his entire life in universities, either as a student or as an academic, and who came to politics very late in the piece, in 2015,
No.
I can assure you that...
Stop fingering yourself.
From the academy to politics is a cruel one. The fundamental cruelty is that when we are in this context, when we are in an academic seminar, when we're in class, you have a process by which, as academics, we state hypotheses, and our colleagues have a holy duty of shooting them down. And any hypothesis that survives that process has some degree of fitness, of evolutionary fitness, not very.
So this is what Varoufakis was saying, and the reason that I stopped was that he's saying that apparently he thinks that in economics, you have academics and they put up balloons and other academics shoot down those balloons. It's not true. Academics ignore each other. They go, you're a stupid as shit, I'm a stupid as shit, you write some shit, I don't care, I'm going to write some other shit, and I just fuck off. And, the really stupid get together and they have a citation cartel and that's it. These are stupid people because, unlike physics, but like literature, literature professors are all shit. But, J.K. Rowling is good, not a literature professor. And, ordinary people know more about literature, they know more about economics than people paid a little money to teach that nonsense. But in physics is mathematics is a different kettle of fish. The same subjects are a different kettle of fish because the Tarskian primitives, the basic terms that they use, are outside our empirical knowledge, and so that's the whole story. Anyway, the point I'd make is that, of course, markets exist everywhere. And you can call anything a market. So long as there's demand, there's supply, there's a price, there's consideration which changes hands, that's market. And, it doesn't have to be a Walrasian market, an open market. No. Markets are markets. And there is no ideal always in market anywhere. There's always can capitalism thrive without it? Sure. No. No. It has. Can markets thrive without capitalism? No. No. Not a problem. So, but what does capitalism mean? It means that resources are allocated through a particular type of open market, which is a market for capital, which is where essentially investment is directed through market signals. But that's never really happened in a wholly, in a well-run, in the ideal manner. Quite simply because you're investing in a place. And you've got to look at the people in that place, whether they will rob you and whether they will sodomize you and make you hand over your money. That's what it depends on. So it's really about Huffeldian rights and entitlements and immunities and compliance costs. So, and those change. I suppose if I were young and I was that shaven-headed, very ugly young lady who introduced Varoufakis, I suppose I'd be thrilled by what he was saying. But only because, like, he's like slim and maybe he's got a nice dick, who knows. Maybe he doesn't, I don't know. Maybe he may have a vagina. These are the sorts of questions that arise in the minds of earnest seekers after truth, sitting in the University of Tübingen's lecture hall. They're going, does he have a vagina? He could have a vagina, does it have a moustache? This could be Judith Butler. How do we know it's not Judith Butler? And is that pussy, is Varoufakis' pussy moist and tender? These are the thoughts which go through your mind when you. I studied economics, and this is how you get through a lecture. You're thinking about the degree of moistness of the pussy of, Amartya Sen or whoever it might be, because otherwise you just become stupid and mentally disabled, and you turn into a bureaucrat and you'll fuck over your own people. Or you might become a finance minister like Varoufakis and really fuck over your people. So this, as I say, is as much as we can say. Am I making you horny, baby? Am I making you horny? Are you getting excited? You're jerking off to me, innit? Yeah. Yes, you are. I am the new Mia Khalifa. She has, by the way, backed the Indian farmers' protests. And given up porn. She's against porn now. She's a born-again Muslim. And I know what you're here for. Yes, yes, yes. But if you want to see more of this, you have to pay. Sorry, darling. This is economics. Not your